Jesus' comments on the words of the Blessed Virgin Mary about Eve and her fall, which were spoken to Maria Valtorta on the 8th of March 1944. And it seems to be, as there's no extra date, Jesus' comments are also on the same date, so very much soon after the Blessed Mother stopped speaking. My mother's words should disperse all perplexity of thought also in the minds most confused and muddled by pseudoscience. After the word pseudoscience, there's brackets and 3 dots, so it shows something's omitted. Well, I'm fortunate enough to have the Italian edition of the poem of the Man God, and it's where Jesus speaks additional words. They're not essential to this, but I don't know why though they were omitted. But I shall continue anyway, just letting you know. Those who are Italian, who have access to the Italian edition, are in a bit of an advantage compared to us English speakers. I said metaphorical tree. Now I will say symbolical tree. Perhaps you will understand better. Its symbol is clear. The inclination to good and to evil of the 2 children of God would be understood by their behaviour towards the tree. Like aqua regia that tests gold, and the scales of the goldsmith that weigh its carats, that tree, by God's command, became a means of testing, and it gave the measure of Adam's and Eve's symbolic metal purity. A momentary pause. The use of the phrase symbolical tree or metaphorical tree, as I think Jesus must have said in the dictation he gave at the beginning of this chapter, before Mary's comments, and that chapter being chapter 17 of the first volume of Man God. This doesn't mean there was no tree, no Garden of Eden. It's simply saying the tree is a symbol. Yes, it's wood, yes, it has fruit on it, but it's indicative of something deeper. It's got a profound meaning. Hence, it's a tree symbolical. I can already hear objection. Was the punishment not excessive, and the means used to condemn them not childish? Not so. Actual disobedience in you, who are their heirs, is not so grave as if it were in them. You have been redeemed by me, but Satan's poison is always ready to rise again, like certain diseases that never disappear completely in the blood. The first parents possessed grace without ever even nearing disgrace. They were therefore stronger and more firmly supported by grace that generated love and innocence. The gift given to them by God was infinite. Much graver is therefore their fall, notwithstanding that gift. Also, the fruit that was offered and eaten was symbolical. It was the fruit of an experience they wanted to have at Satan's instigation to break God's command. I had not forbidden men love. I only wanted them to love each other without malice, as I loved them in my holiness. They were to love each other in the holiness of affections, unsoiled by lewdness. It must not be forgotten that grace is light, and whoever possesses it knows what is good and useful to know. Mary, full of grace, knew everything because wisdom taught her. Wisdom, that is grace, and she knew how to live in a holy way. Also, Eve knew what was good for her to know, but not more, because it is valueless to know what is not good. But she did not have faith in God's word and was not faithful to her promise of obedience. She believed in Satan. She broke her promise. She wanted to know what was not good. She loved it without regret. She turned love into something corrupt and degraded, which I instead had permitted as something holy. A sullied angel, she wallowed in mud and litter, whereas she could have run happily amongst the flowers of the earthly paradise, and she could have seen her offspring flourish around her like a plant that is covered with flowers without bending its leaves into the mire.